Purpose.
Hello, welcome to Youth of Purpose, a show that is here to give you a platform to be able to contribute to your country and make sure that Uganda becomes better and better by day. Today on the show, we are getting to you at a campfire that has been organized by young people under the Angus Cancer Foundation. Angus is one of the young people that is a victim of cancer, and he has done all that he can to make sure that he does awareness to his fellow young people to understand this monster disease and majorly all other non-communicable diseases. And today that's what we want to be looking at, the role of young people in the fight against this disease of cancer and all other non-communicable diseases. Let's have a look at the deliberations by these young people, and we'll be right back.
Our panel tonight, we thank you so much for honoring our invitation and making it a point joining us tonight, and sacrificing all your duties being here.
My name is Angus Nasasira. Happy to see you all. I'm so glad. I'm the reason why we have Angus Cancer Foundation. Yeah, the struggle still moves, but the essence is, can we really fight the monster that is eating up our communities? Before I wasn't like this, but I also enjoy the world I'm in, only that I don't wish you guys to come to the world I'm in now. Glad to see you all. I hope this continues and continues. God bless you all.
Non-communicable diseases are contributing over 35% of the death in Uganda alone. And these diseases are due to, lifestyles, the fact that Uganda, life expectancy in Uganda is now at what, 65? At 65, people are growing old. So some of these diseases come with them. You get, like your heart having problems. Those days you die before you start having heart problems. But right now we have them. You develop cancer because you're aging, you get, and we're having them. And these are problems we are having in the country as a whole. The question tonight is, what can the young people do? Brought to you by Angus Cancer Foundation. Thank you very much.
And I'm glad to be here with you, ladies and gentlemen. I work with UBC, the only agency in Uganda that is leading in inspiring the people of Uganda and East Africa and Africa. The reason as why we joined Angus Cancer Foundation is because he is leading in inspiring the people of Uganda about the monster. He calls cancer the monster.
We have increasing rates of non-communicable diseases. So like he explained them, they are not contagious. If a person has this disease, even if you touch them, there's no mode of transmission from one person to another. And like he said again, they are as a result of lifestyle. I normally say it's what we eat and what we do. Basically, those two things, we'll break them as we go on. And the most four that I want to talk about when we talk about NCDs is cardiovascular diseases, diseases of the heart, diabetes, and mostly type 2. Is it mellitus? Is it speedus? Mellitus. Type 2 diabetes, and then cancer and respiratory diseases. Yeah, so that's what, I think that was the question. I don't want to debate. That's NCDs and what they are. Thank you.
Thank you. When I listen to these scientific terms, I don't know if we are all at par in the audience, but I'm enjoying this conversation and I'm learning surely. But to me, like Dr. Francis said it at first, these communicable diseases, these are that cannot be transferred by physical touch. Like you cannot come and hug me, then you have cancer. But what I've just found out that world over, these diseases contribute around 74% of deaths in the world. But also basically in Uganda, they contribute around 33% of death. To bring it down to my district where I come from, most of the men, according to my statistics, not informed anywhere, but according to Namisindwa district, most of the men there are drunkards. And I believe that these diseases contribute 90% of their deaths. So I believe that these non-communicable diseases is something that we can all prevent according to what we do and what we practice. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I've just discovered that I forgot to introduce myself when I was given the opportunity, but now that I have the mic again, my name is Akidega Moses. I am, by the grace of God, the Secretary for Labor to the National Youth Council of Uganda, but also a student of law at Makerere University. So you can see that my background is purely humanities, and when I now begin to hear terms that are very new to my ears, it can be a bit problematic. But well, what do I think about the non-communicable diseases is that post-independence, the founding fathers of this country declared that Uganda and Africa had three issues. One was poverty, the second was ignorance, and the third was disease. So the issue of disease, be it communicable, be it non-communicable, has been with us as a society from time immemorial. So, I'll speak more from the policy perspective that the broader discussion should be about how do we revolutionize our healthcare system so that people and friends like Angus, who unfortunately find themselves suffering such diseases, have a chance at life because there is a robust healthcare system, all right? And that when they need to access healthcare, they don't have to line up for 2-3 hours before they can access chemotherapy. I think that is the broader discussion that this campfire should be able to initiate and make policy recommendations. But these diseases, in my ordinary perspective, they are manageable, and having cancer should not be a death sentence, all right? That even in the courts of law, we don't have death penalty anymore. So I don't think that cancer and any other non-communicable disease or anything else should be seen as a death sentence. I think those who suffer these diseases should be given a chance to actually get proper treatment, and this goes back to how do we finance our healthcare system, that we have the Abuja Declaration that, that enjoins member states to have 15% of their national budgets according to the healthcare system. But Uganda, for the past 10-15 years, we haven't, exceeded 7%. So there are broader discussions as to the general outlook of our healthcare system that I'd love to indulge in. Thank you.
On my side, I got to know about these diseases, particularly cancer, from my grandmother who suffered from both breast cancer, and then later it went up to the lungs and led to her death. And so what I would like to say is that in a discussion of these NCDs, as Kish said, things like lifestyle and what we eat, how we live our lives are crucial things, because when you look at the generation today, speaking from the side of the youth, there are certain things we have taken up, certain ways we have developed that, unlike our forefathers, because these diseases were not there, I would like to think there is a change, or there is a reason, or maybe if they were there, they were not as rampant as they are right now. So with that kind of like background, change of lifestyle, what have we adopted, what have we left behind, I think that is where probably issues may be. And then lastly, how receptive are we, and how do we put our hands together? I am glad that today people are here for our brother Angus, but for some other people may not have gotten this support. But how can we as a nation know that the same attention we probably give to HIV/AIDS, like it's a national, it's an issue of national importance, can we also give the same attention, urgency, and facilitation to the NCDs? Thank you.
Africans lived up to 100 years. We all had at least grandfathers and grandmothers in our families. And none complained about these non-communicable diseases. They would live and happily, and no cancer, no what. What changed? What went wrong?
All right, from the food systems perspective, but there were non-communicable diseases back then, but they have dramatically increased now. Because if you read about the scientific history of a disease called scurvy, it began at the British Navy War. And these fishermen and people who were working at the water were being abducted. They were going through a lot, battles, fevers, many years of being separated from their families. But I can tell you that the biggest threat these people had was not in any way related to war or to weather. The biggest threat they had was because of food. Scurvy killed 2 million, more than 2 million people then. And even after, people knowing the cause of the disease, they went ahead to die. Now, when you listen to this account of events, you feel like going back in time and tapping these men's shoulders and tell them, guys, can you eat some lemons and oranges? Because scurvy was just a deficiency of vitamin C. And they had these fruits, they had these trees, until one doctor discovered the medicine, these people had died. But even after they found out the cure, they went ahead to die, and the disease kept reoccurring because of the behavioral change communication. So back then, the diseases were there, and the reason was because of ignorance. And now we know these diseases. We've been told, we've been educated. And now the problem is because the way we live has changed. Most of us do sedentary work. Uganda was very bad off, we were very poor. Our economies have changed, but as our economies change, even our occupations change. We are in offices, we don't exercise. That is the work we do, so NCDs hike. Secondly, with the industrialization, many things come on market. What we eat, we come back to what we eat. We are no longer doing the subsistence, the diet we used to have from our subsistence farming. I mean, the youth go and be like, eating healthy food is expensive and it takes much time. You see that kind of knowledge and attitude. And so we prefer grab some chips, and things that we should eat that are healthy are actually expensive. If you look at the price of olive oil vis-a-vis the price of this ordinary cooking oil, there's a big difference. So one, I think it's because of how our country has moved, has changed, the kind of work we do, and our knowledge attitude, and we lack information and social behavioral change communication. Yes, thank you.
What I learned is that the foods which are healthy are still expensive. So you need to work harder to get that much to buy that food that is health for your body. Sure. All of them, among there are about 6 or more non-communicable diseases, but we all point to cancer. Why of all that is cancer leading? Why has it become so popular compared to others?
We have communicable diseases, and then and one of them is cancer. And I think I want to assume that people have come here not only just to support Angus, but also supporting the cause by understanding what cancer is and how best can we, contribute in the fight against cancer. And we would not be doing a service if we do not justice. I mean, understand a little bit more on what cancer is. And so let me try as much as I can to pack it in 3 minutes. So let's start from now. Cancer is a disease that does not spread. Is a disease that is at genetical level. You get? It's at cellular level. That your body produces abnormal cells. Some of them are bigger than normal, but these cells have the capacity to invade other cells. You get? They have the capacity to eat other cells and then turn them into like themselves. You get? Now, the problem with this is that these cells or these organs will not be able to do what the body expects them to do. Every single body part of every single body part that you have has its own cancer. Yes, skin, you have skin cancer. Lung cancer. Heart, cardiac cancer. You get it? Everything has cancer. You get? So people ask themselves now, what are the common cancers in Uganda? Right now, the leading most common cancer in Uganda is cervical cancer for women. Cancer nabana in Uganda. Yes, in actually is cancer me odnyual. Then the next one is breast cancer, still in women, and it's very common among elderly people. And the third leading core cancer is prostate cancer, the men. And the moment you have, you're able to, have sex, produce semen, you have a prostate gland, and so you're at the risk of prostate cancer. And very many men are dying because of prostate cancer. The other one is called Kaposi sarcoma. Is a cancer that is very common among HIV positively living people. What are the causes or slash risk factors of cancer? I'm going to just mention the general ones, and I hope that you can be able to look into yourselves. Now, cancer has risk factors of cancer are divided in three categories. The first one is genetical. You have nothing to do about this. It's where you're born and who gives birth to you and your family. You get? The other one is environmental factors. Environmental factors include exposure to radiation. You get? I will tell more along the way. The other third part is lifestyle. Lifestyle is what you do on a daily basis, what you eat, you get. And this is where we now can have a lot to do with. Now, genetically, if you have a person who has suffered with cancer in your family, you're predisposed to getting a similar cancer. You get. If your mother or sister or grandmother or aunt has suffered from breast cancer, chances are very high you have the genes for that cancer. You get. And so you need to be on the watch out. In United States right now and UK, many young girls, when they know that they have a history of cancer, breast cancer, they go and test for what we call tumor markers. These are markers that show that you have the genes for breast cancer. They have kids at an early age and have their breast cut off. The other one other general risk factors that we need to look at is age. You get. Now, at the beginning, I was asking my brother Kidega and the other panelist, what the life expectancy rate in Uganda is. It's now 65. And so the thing about your body is that as you grow older, as you age, your body gets tired. The other one is especially for us young people, especially for us, is the issue of fatness or obesity among young people. You see, there was a research that showed that this was done in 2018. That 78% of the Uganda's population from the age of 9 to 18 were obese. 78% were obese. So the thing about it is that it reduces your immunity. Truth be told, we are exposed to cancerous agents. Like, for example, you're eating GMOs, you get it? Every day you're passing near radiation, UV light, and all that. These are all cancerous agents. You get it? Like things that can cancerous reaction. But your body has what we call your immunity. Your immunity has the capacity of filtering out cancerous items. You get it? But if your immunity is reduced, your capacity to remove these cancerous items or agents from your body lowers. And that's why my sister here talking about what you take in is very important. You get? Now, your immunity is reduced with obesity. You get? Your immunity is reduced with quite a number of things, and that's why we need to watch our diet. And another thing is the physical exercise. If you are inactive, you are dormant, there is a way that your immunity is affected. Another risk factor, and I want to say this especially for cervical cancer, for our young ladies, another one is called human papilloma virus. It's very common, both in men and women. I want to say this, and I sought, this is especially for the men, I sought permission from my brother. My brother suffered from a condition caused by the human papilloma virus. for about a year, and we suffered to treat it for for the entire year. We actually thought he had cancer. The thing is that the human papilloma virus is sexually transmitted, but this virus has the capacity to induce cancerous reaction in your cervix. You get? So the thing is, if you have multiple sex partners, chances are high you're going to pick from Bill and you take it to Abias. You get? Or if you don't get it from Bill, you're probably going to find it in our brother Gawa. You get? Because the reason is that as our human genitalia is, external genitalia is that Bill, Abias do not squat. They just stand and shoot. And you know, this urine can contain the virus. You get it? And we are not usually that very clean. So chances are high you pick it. And now this is very common in our mothers, if in our sisters. You get, if this virus takes longer time, it continues to induce, you know, cancerous reaction. If your immune system is low, filtering out these cancerous cells becomes an issue, and you develop this. And now in Uganda, we have screening for HPV. There's also an immunization or vaccine against HPV virus, but we know we are in a low-income country, so this is still not a program rolled out. You get, but we can test for HPV. You need to come to camp, and I recommend this for all the ladies 25 years and above. But for HPV, even when you're 20, come and we test. Luckily, I work in that department. So, and it's free of charge. So the thing is, we need to be on the lookout. Lifestyle, I was explaining to you. You see, you're sleeping and you think you're not catching syphilis, you're not getting gonorrhea, but HPV is staring at you. You get? It's not HIV, but it's going to hit you more than HIV will. You get? And the other thing I want to talk about is about lifestyle is consumption of things like harmful things like tobacco, things like cha. You get, some people here are experts, you know, like, okay. The thing is that tobacco, alcohol, tobacco has nicotine. Shisha also has nicotine. Nicotine worldwide is known to be carcinogenic. You get, it induces cancerous reactions. It's not the smoke, it's actually that substance. You get, there was a research that was done, and they put a report that putting taxation on tobacco increased the world population by 15%. Just putting tax on tobacco alone.
How many of young people in this country know about these things? That through sexual intercourse, you are transmitting something dangerous. A monster is there. How many of us know about this and we enjoy these things day in and out? Right? Yes, I'm not speaking on my behalf, but on, you know, on behalf of us, the young people. So, how many of us know about this danger? So the areas of outreaches, of participating in community outreaches, to go back from, you know, you're in Kampala here. I mean, I think most of us are based in Kampala. How many of us are going back to our districts, to our communities, even to our villages, even to our families, and telling them about what Angus is doing?
The youth contribute directly to increasing NCDs. They also contribute directly to decreasing NCDs. In Uganda, for example, I call the youth a window of opportunity. It's a critical window. As much as right now the people dying of NCDs are 60, but like Dr. Shah said, they are chronic, so they are gradual. That means you can get this disease when you're 20 and die at 60. But the reason why you get it, the lifestyle and everything they talked about, is because of what you do when you are youth, especially adolescents. Now, Dr. Shah talked about tobacco and nicotine being risk factors for NCDs. And most of the countries have come out to have tobacco control bills. We have one, for example, in Uganda. The Parliament Forum on NCDs passed this bill. But I want you to know that industries out here are targeting the youth. Everything they are manufacturing, they target the youth. Now, after there were bills in different countries on tobacco control, they brought what they call the nicotine aerosol spray. I don't know if you know. It's called e-cigarette, e-pipe, e-vape. I don't know if you've heard it. Yeah, it's an electronic cigarette. Now, in this electronic cigarette, after people said, please stop smoking, and there were bills, so they brought this e-cigarette. But in actual sense, when I read about this e-cigarette, the contents of this cigarette are benzene, formaldehyde, and xylene.
Well, I hope today's episode has enabled you to understand so much about the disease of cancer, but also other non-communicable diseases and how you can be able to avoid them as a young person and play a role in reducing the spread of these NCDs. I thank you so much for watching this show. See you next time.
Youth of Purpose.